This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the CEO of Aldebaran Resources, Mr. John Black. John, how are you?
Doing very well. Thanks, Gerardo. How are you doing?
I am well. Thank you for coming back on. You just announced an updated mineral resource estimate for the ALDE copper gold project, and you also snuck in an initial maiden resource for the Qdm Gold, as it is stated here in the release, gold deposit, which, by the way, is like 500,000 ounces of at surface gold. But we'll talk about that in a bit. The last time you and I chatted, I played devil's advocate a bit and said that if there were two knocks on the company, it would be that the project, though massive, was lower grade, and there were some critics that like to highlight the arsenic levels. And it seems like you directly addressed both of those with this release. I'll let you provide the context there.
Great. Yeah, well, we're very pleased to get this out. This is really the result of a couple years of work of us tearing apart the project, understanding it better, and then having the opportunity to recast the resource. This is not based on a lot more drilling. It's based on a lot better geologic understanding of the project and taking a look at what we think is a better way to approach the project. So the fundamental takeaways from this are that what was an extremely large but low grade deposit, we've recast this as a smaller deposit, but still very large. We're still talking about well over 1 billion tons of measured and indicated mineralization, as well as some additional inferred mineralization, but a much better grade. The grade of the previous way of looking at this project was 2.5 billion tons at about a little over 0.3% copper grade. We've reduced that down to a little over 1 billion tons, but we show a grade that's much closer to 0.5% copper equivalent now. So a notable increase in grade, and it puts it more in context of a number of other peer companies that have similar assets. There are not very many of these large copper gold projects in the hands of junior companies right now, and fewer each cycle that we go through. But this one's now compares quite favorably with a number of our other peers. So that was one of our principal objectives on doing this resource, was to present it more at a more reasonable grade and how to move forward with the project. But a couple other things fell out of this as well. With much better geologic control, we now know where the arsenic is in the project, and one of the outcomes of this resource estimate is that the overall arsenic levels are much lower than previously thought, particularly in the hypogene mineralization, the type of mineralization that you'd be producing a sulfide concentrate from. Much of the arsenic is up high in the deposit in the barren overlying waste material, or in a zone of secondary enrichment, which is where we have redeposition of secondary copper sulfides. And that material is an interesting aspect of the project as well, in that we have a sizable amount of supergene copper mineralization. We break that out in the resource estimate, and the reason we do that is twofold. One is there's a possibility that we could exploit that by lower capex SX-EW technology. It'd be a way to have a starter pit that would be able to come in and, for a much lower cost, begin to process material on the project and potentially cash flow further development of the underlying primary sulfides. And one of the advantages to that is by doing SX-EW heap leaching, you can process that material that has elevated arsenic in it, and the arsenic becomes converted to a stable mineral form called scorodite that's non-soluble and therefore safe to store, and you produce copper cathode on site. So we don't know that for sure that that's a pathway forward, but we've segregated that material out to be able to take a look at it. And then another outcome that you mentioned on this is that there's a small zone called the Qdm Gold Zone. It's really a separate deposit. What the ALTAR system is turning out to be is a series of deposits. The two big ones are ALTAR Central and ALTAR East, where the main copper resource is delineated. But Qdm Gold is a separate gold dominant zone, almost gold only zone. And that's shaping up to be something pretty interesting. We have over 500,000 ounces at nearly a gram of gold there, almost on the surface. And that has room to continue to grow. So we're pretty excited about this turning into be a series of deposits as we further explore it.
I know of several companies that have 500,000 ounces of gold at surface and command a market cap equal or greater than your current market cap right now.
We were commenting on that. Boy, this is something pretty attractive just by itself. Before it's been kind of buried in the wash a bit.
No, look, well, congratulations. Obviously, a lot of progress made here, a lot of hard work that went into it. I know you had, I think it was over 100,000 meters of core that you've been reprocessing and interpreting. How is the drilling coming along?
Drilling's going well. We have 2 rigs on site. We've completed the first hole just recently. The second hole's getting close to completion, so we'll move on to holes 3 and 4. Hope to get a couple more long holes in before the end of the season, and then see if the weather permits to move to holes beyond that as well still. So it's progressing well. We're seeing what we like to see and we look forward to being able to put out some drill results here in the not too distant future.
Well, I'm looking forward to them, John. Thank you so much for that update, and can't wait to have you back on to see some of those results.
Okay, we look forward to catching up with you again soon. Thanks, Gerardo.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.